Our speaker today has been a driving force in holistic health for well over 3 decades. Her own health challenges and the complications from traditional medical treatments led her to investigate the more natural approach. Not only did it work for her, but she's transformed this knowledge into a means to assist others for their quest for health. Her private practice is in Phoenix, Arizona. She earned a PhD in homeopathy and natural medicine, as well as a doctorate in homeopathic medicine. As an international educator, she has presented her work in Europe and across the United States, including the Cancer Control Society Annual Conference and the Academy of Complementary and Integrative Medicine. She has been published in numerous health magazines, including Explore for the Professional, National Naturopathic Doctors Review, and News and Public Health Alert. She's the author of the book, You Gotta Have Guts, A Natural Approach to GI Health. May I now introduce to you Level 6 candidate, Victoria Bowman.
How exciting to be here. And so today we're going to talk about the Gin spin on health. When we were little kids, does everybody ride a bicycle? Mm-hmm. When you were a little kid, I crashed and burned. Did anybody else skin and go down on their knees and they skin their knees? Yeah. And so your mom probably cleaned it up, put a Band-Aid on it, gave it a kiss and said, "You'll be better soon. You see, you're a natural healer." Well, what about a broken bone? Well, I broke my ankle. Anybody else? Anybody break a leg, a collarbone? And yeah, about half the room. And you went to the doctor, and the doctor set it, and put the cast on, and said, "You'll be fine. In 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be healed, and we'll take the cast off." Well, how did that happen? Now in Gin, in the training balance scale, 90% is on our thinking and 10% is on how. You see, we don't really have to know how it's going to come about as long as our thinking is right. And so when the doctor says, well, you'll be healed in 3 to 4 weeks, then that mechanism within us says, oh, I'm supposed to heal. And we know how to do it whether or not we know how to do it. And then what about getting the flu? Things do come around and maybe we pick something up and, you rest and you take care of yourself and maybe you drink some orange juice and in a couple of days, you're well. You see, we are all our own natural healers. And that's my Gin spin on health. Because I work in detoxification and cleansing, I have probably 95% of my practice comes by doctor referral. Now these are holistic practitioners most of the time. We're talking about homeopaths, medical doctors, osteopaths, naturopaths, chiropractors, acupuncturists. People of many persuasions recognize the importance of detoxification and cleansing. And because I believe you've probably listened to Your Wish is Your Command, you recognize that in some of the later CDs that Kevin Trudeau speaks about the importance of the way that we care for and treat our body. So while I do very physical modalities, I need to bring the change up here into my practice because most people are ill because that's off kilter as well. So what I would like you to do is let's talk about some symptoms. Okay, does anybody have a symptom they don't like? Yes.
Swelling.
Swelling.
Feet and ankles.
Okay, swelling, feet and ankles. Something else?
Arthritis in my fingers.
Arthritis in your fingers. Okay, yes.
Burning.
Burning, so GI tract burning. Okay, so we can now take and look at those symptoms and decide what a chief aim might be. We can have a general chief aim, such as vital health. We could have a specific chief aim, which would be to have fluids flow through my body correctly if we have swelling. Okay, or we could have ease and comfort in our GI tract if we have burning, and we can have flexibility in our joints if we're dealing with arthritis. So we can be specific, we can be general, or our third choice is just to be happy now. what I know from Gin Principles is that when we have a chief aim and we look at our radar screen, we will be guided through the law of attraction to bring into ourselves the things, the people, the circumstances, and the events that can move us forward in our healing process. We know how to heal. We may just need an impetus or a suggestion or a direction in order to create that healing process. So you see, the seeds of greatness are germinated in our greatest devastation. I'd like to share a story about one of my clients by the name of Doris. She had been ill for 8 years, and she finally got a diagnosis. And that diagnosis was multiple myeloma. Your prognosis with a diagnosis would be roughly about a year. Well, she had been ill for 8 years, and she did this traditional standard medical practice because of her husband's influence, but she also decided to do the natural approach. And because she had a lot of GI side effects from the medication, she came to me to help her keep that track working well and also to detoxify the side effects of many of the pharmaceutical medications that she was on. And we began to talk. And so I explained to her she had to have a chief goal. She had to have a dream. She had to have something that was going to give her that spark of excitement so that she truly wanted to live and her body responded to that. And her granddaughter was maybe 11 or 12, and she decided she wanted to see her granddaughter graduate from college. That's a pretty long chief aim, but it's a good one. And so we created a scenario for her, and so every morning and every night, so as she was waking up, she would think about this scenario, and as she was falling asleep, she would do it again. And so in her scenario, she saw her granddaughter all grown up and beautiful, cap and gown, sitting with all of her friends from college, and Doris was in the stands. And she was sitting with family members waiting for the name to be called. And so finally the president of her school called her name, and she walked across the stage, shook his hand, received her diploma, yanked off her cap, and threw it in the air. And Doris jumped up. Woohoo! She did it! We got her there! And she saw that every morning and every night. And she made it to that goal. Even though medicine said, you're not going to get there. You got a year to live. We had to look for another chief aim. And KT tells us that we must not be complacent. Too many people get money and then they get into fear of losing the money, so they lose the money. Instead of, when you get the money, create something else. So when you get your health, create something more. Do more. Give more. Share more. Be of service more. And so she decided, while her granddaughter wasn't married or in a serious relationship, she wanted to sit in a rocking chair and hold her first great-grandchild. And we made it. Doris lived 14 years past her death date. I think she died too young, but I can look at this scenario and say she was a miracle. And the things that we learn in Gin are truly miracles. So the next part that I would like to talk about is to monitor your mutterings. We have one of our suggested reading is hung by the tongue.
Yeah.
And what I know is that oftentimes a client will come to me with some kind of distress, and they will say to me, I've tried everything and nothing works. What's their teachability index? Zero. Absolutely zero. And I look at them and I say, well, we either have to shift our thought pattern, or what I'm going to do for you probably won't work. So how about if you say, I've tried everything I know, and it hasn't worked. And in that, we now have a paradigm shift, and they're looking at it perhaps this way, and they go, oh. And then I can say, perhaps my education, my knowledge, my experience, my practice, the things that I've learned, perhaps I have something that could help you. And when we get that shift, there's been a little opening in that thought process. And indeed, I can move forward not only with the physical modalities that I offer, but also with these thought patterns to help them shift what they're saying. And when they leave my office, I will say, you know, when you came in, you said, I've tried everything and nothing works. And as you leave, I want your mantra to be, I have a new program that's going to work for me. And my success rate is very high. And maybe I still have to do some work with them because we don't get well overnight. And we have to have good practices and good habits. We need to honor our temple for what it is. But they've got a program and a plan. And 3 or 4 days later, I get a phone call and they go, wow, I'm feeling wonderful and things are starting to work and. And that's what is the Jin spin on health. Edgar Cayce said, doing the right modality with the wrong attitude might not work. And doing the right modality with the wrong attitude might not work. But if you put the right attitude and the right modality together, you can create miracles. So having the ability to offer things that have sound scientific principles behind them and putting the mindset in, we can have miracles. We're encouraged in Jin on a weekly basis to dream build, to say, if money were no object, I would. And then we take and we make a list, and it gets longer and longer and longer. And the reason that we do that is because it expands our world and what we can see. The reason that our conferences and our events are in different cities around the world is because international travel is one of the major ways to expand our consciousness as to how people live and what they do and to see the world and see the possibilities. And so physicality is that part of us that has to do with our body. So I want you to take your paper and blue pen and we're going to make a list. And in it, our phrase is going to be, if physicality were unlimited, I would. If physicality were unlimited, I would. If there were no limits on what you could physically do, what would you do? We're going to enjoy some music for 2 minutes, so go ahead and write your list. Physicality. Yes?
Dance till dawn.
Dance till dawn.
Fly without an airplane.
Without an airplane. Okay, can I put jet because it's shorter?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have clarity of mind and learn instantly.
Ooh. Yes.
Be in several places at the same time.
Ooh. Oh, how do we say that? Be in several places.
Omnipresent. Okay, omnipresent.
Or We have room for another one? Yes.
Travel to every place I want to see.
Oh. Can I put unlimited? One more.
Hang glide.
And I'm going to add mine to the end, and that's soar with eagles. So when a person is dealing with an illness or a diagnosis, and we need to remember that a diagnosis is an opinion, and the facts don't count, because what many people think are facts are actually opinions. And if you look at Norman Cousins, he wrote, I say laughter is your best medicine, but Anatomy of an Illness, thank you. In that, he found that happiness and the correct focus, and he watched funny movies, and he read joke books, and just did amazing things. He put himself into laughter, and with that, he healed from a terminal illness. And when we focus on what we want to do, when we actually look and dream about those things, and take our dream board and our dream book, and we do our writings, what happens is it brings happiness into who we are. The primary principle of Jen is feel good now. I prefer feel great now, but we'll do feel good now. And when someone is not feeling well, you can't say, oh, feel bliss, because they can't feel bliss. But if in fact they can feel a little bit better, then that raises that frequency. And it is the frequencies that we send out that are attracted back to us. Someone said to me one time, I want to get back to my original weight. And I said, you know, being 7 pounds 4 ounces just isn't realistic for me. So let's be realistic, but let's live in an unlimited way. Well, I have another exercise that I give to individuals, and it has to do with, you can use the same paper that you did, and at the bottom, I want you to select a number between 1 and 12. And just write that number down, and then put a forward slash, and then select a number between 1 and 31. And put another forward slash, and then I get to choose the last number. It's 15. I had a great aunt, and she kept a diary. And every day, from being a little girl of maybe 13 or 14, at the end of her day, she would write down the exciting things that she did that day. And she lived to be 91. And I was blessed to be her pen pal. And so what would happen is she had a stack of letters probably this deep. And when she got a letter, she read it, and then she put it in the back. And every day she would sit down and she would write a couple of letters to her friends. So whoever came up in the front of the list, she read the letter again. And then she wrote them a letter and she tossed it away. And so eventually your letter would move to the front. So you didn't get a letter if you didn't write a letter. And I was privileged to visit her and get to read her diaries. And I look back at some of the tragedies that she had, but what a beautiful spirit and how she grew from that. Because we know that there's no bad things that happen. They're an opportunity to make a decision. And I saw the joy that she had, the parties she went to, the work that she did, the fun that she had, the friends that she interacted with. And that's what a diary is. It's an opportunity to just recall at the end of your day what a wonderful day you've had. And so, look at your paper. Between 1 and 12, that gives you a month. So, if you picked 3, it's March. And if you picked 5, it's May. And if you picked 11, it's November. Now, the second number has to be a little bit variable because all months don't have 31 days. So if you picked 2 and it's February, and you picked 31, there's no February 31st. So you're going to have to back it up to the 28th. Okay? So that is the day that you have chosen. I didn't choose the numbers, I got to choose the year. That's the date that you're going to start today to write your diary. So get yourself a little notebook, and at the top, okay, somebody give me their date.
September 28th.
September 28th. Okay, so you're going to put at the top of your page, your little page, September 28th, 2015. You see, future thinking is the tricky part, but we're future thinkers. So tonight, when you go to sleep, now what I chose to do with this is I looked on the calendar and found out what day of the week it was going to be. Because my work week is Monday through Friday and my weekends are Saturday and Sunday, so it affects the kind of things that I might put in my diary based on what day of the week it is. So let's say it's a Saturday, and so you're going to write whatever you would like to create for your September 28th of 2015. And write it down, and write the joy. And I did this a few years ago. I was promoting my book, You Gotta Have Guts, and I had the opportunity to do some radio spots. And so what I did was I bumped forward in my diary, and I wrote things like, I am so excited. I got a call today from a radio station in the Midwest, and I'm going to be on a regional program as soon as we lock in the date and the time. And it happened. And I have 4 grandsons, and they're 12 to 7 in ages, and I love to ride horses, and they liked it. But I started writing in my diary, oh wow, Bryce and I, he's the oldest, Bryce and I went to a gymkhana, that's a horse event, and he competed in barrels and poles, and he got 2 blue ribbons and a white one. Wow, it was so much fun. But it's happening now. We go every month to an event where he rides and I ride, and we have a lot of fun. The second twin isn't really into riding horses, but he draws. So what does he do is he takes his pad out and he starts drawing. He's still involved the way he enjoys it. And the younger 2 are just getting started. They went to a horse camp and they are gung-ho. So be as specific as you can. Put all the details. If you want a new home, write that you planted flowers in the front flower bed and you're watching them bloom. Because future thinking is the tricky part. But this is a wonderful tool for seeing the life you want to live instead of hanging on to what you might have right now. The next exercise I would like to do requires a volunteer. And I need somebody that's not very enthusiastic. So I would like to invite Eva to come forward.
Not enthusiastic.
Well, okay, I'm going to hand you these, and you can peek at them if you would like. We know in gin that in 68 seconds we can absolutely change what's going on in our experience. And that every 17 seconds, does anybody know how many man-hours it empowers us? 2,000, that's right. And then if we double that, it's not 4,000, it's 20,000. So when we can stay excited and vibrating and sending out a frequency for 68 seconds, we're absolutely unstoppable. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to read a card,
Okay.
and then you're going to read a card.
Okay.
And then we're just going to go back and forth. Okay?
Okay. Can I say something?
Sure.
Isn't she fabulous? How did I pick her?
Okay. So what I've done, and I give a list of these affirmations to my clients, and give them the opportunity to use this to raise their frequency, to raise their vibration. So there's enough cards here. We're going to make it to 68 seconds. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Jen makes the able more able.
I make the rules today. I'm healthier than ever.
I am love guided and pushed to greatness.
My greatness is coming forth.
I was born to thrive.
Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better and better.
I've always been lucky.
I fill my mind with happy nows.
I have a lot to offer the world.
I'm 100% responsible for my health.
My thoughts become the things and events of my life.
It's my turn now.
I'm worthy and deserving.
I feel good now.
I align my thinking with the life of my dreams.
I believe and receive.
I accumulate physical resources.
I say the way I want it, not the way it is.
My eyes are open to new possibilities.
My reality has purpose.
I resolve inner conflict.
I don't know it all, but I do know enough.
I am inspired and motivated when I most need or desire it.
I'm endowed with the seeds of greatness.
What I vibrate is attracted to me.
The real secret is me.
I am engineered for success.
I was born to win.
I create exponential growth by frequency.
Whatever I dream will be my future.
I am a creative being.
I'm grateful for vibrant health.
I unexpectedly meet new people who can help me.
I'm a thought machine.
Go ahead, you've got one in mind. I vibrate with health and wholeness.
My DNA is designed for accomplishment.
Yeah, it's time. How does today look? So if we can each, I do have a list of those that I'll put on the back table, and you're welcome to take one. Yes.
At a previous meeting, you gave us that list, and I was doing it all the time. And as soon as you started doing it, I immediately wrote down, pull out Vicky's list of affirmations. Wait, what am I doing with this? Because I was doing it every day for a while, and then I kind of stopped, and I'm like, wait a second.
Okay.
I'm going to underline this. Pull out Vicky's list.
Well, you're going to get a new one.
Okay.
And you can stick it on the refrigerator.
Yes.
I put a lot of things there. Other times I stick things on the mirror in the bathroom because I happen to be there too. Okay, so one of the last tools that I offer has to do with changing what happens on our face. I'm going to need a cue up, please. We know that if we don't feel good, we can change that by just standing up and breathing in and putting a smile on our face and just, trying to feel a little bit happier. And I prescribe a song for every one of my clients. Now, if you happen to know the song, you can sing along with me, and if you want to stand up and whoop and holler, that's okay too. Okay? And I think you get it really quick. So please, our thanks to Miley Cyrus, because this is her rendition. Coming to mind? Zippity-doo-dah. Come on and stand up. Zippity-yay. My, oh my. Edison fail?
10,000.
10,000 times. How many times do we have to succeed? Once. Only once. In gin, we learned that a lot of the mottos and slogans that we were raised with are wrong. Absolutely wrong. So the one that I want to share in my closing is this. They say you only live once. No, you don't only live once. You have the right to live fully, excitedly, healthfully every day. You only die once. Let's make today a great one. Thank you.